Hey, good morning to everybody. Daryl P here, aka Artist in Recovery. And once again, I am picking a Belle of the Ranch slash BEAU the Fifth Column video to talk about. The reason I talk about these videos is I generally agree with everything more or less that Belle says in these videos. So the purpose of these videos is kind of to expound on the continue the conversation. Go a little deeper, if you will, on what Belle says in her videos. Okay, so as usual, the video that I'm picking today will be right down in the video descriptions. This is kind of a spoiler alert because I'm going to talk about what she says in this video. This video is let's talk about Trump's plan for DC and his golden age being gilded. That's roughly what it's called. It has to do with Washington, D.C. Let me say this. One thing I've noticed in the last couple of days, and I'm completely honest and serious about this, is I've actually seen a change in heart of the Trump supporters around me. There's a lot of Trump supporters in my relatives, people in the area where I live and whatnot, and I have honestly seen a change of heart and a lot of their devotion to him. They're not happy. All right, let me get into this. If you're new to this channel, these videos have been doing good. These Belle of the Ranch videos, I've been picking up new subscribers. If you're new to this channel and you've never seen me before, I've been a big fan of BEAU the Fifth Column slash Belle of the Ranch for 5-6 years at least. I'll put the link down below. One of the very first videos I did was let's talk about BEAU of the Fifth Column, and BEAU actually featured my video on his channel, Belle of the Ranch slash BEAU of the Fifth Column, and I'll put the link to that down below. That actually boosted me up and it got my channel monetized, so I owe Belle and BEAU a huge debt of gratitude. All right, let's just get into this. I was so pissed off, not at Belle, but thinking about everything she said. Now, I'm a recovering addict. Okay, I'm coming up on 19 years clean and sober. I was a full-blown heroin, crack cocaine user, and October 23rd will be 19 years I've been clean and sober. And nothing makes me more angry than politicians using the disease of addiction to further their hatred rhetoric. What am I talking about? Just a year ago, it was all big news on the right that Americans were being poisoned by fentanyl. Oh my God, sweet innocent Americans are being poisoned left and right because these damn Mexican cartels and that's not the case. Where there's a demand, there's a supply. And now those Americans that they were talking about are the people that Trump is trying to push out of D.C., the homeless, the so-called criminals, those exact same people a year ago that Trump was trying to, these poor Americans are being poisoned. Now, those exact same people are his target for being swept out of D.C., those exact same people. Now, nothing makes me more angry than people using, him and people on the right had no concern about the disease of addiction, and not only that, but they used it to further their hateful rhetoric about Mexican people and South American people. All right, Belle of the Ranch made some very good points. She pointed out the Dickensian comparison, like Oliver Twist and whatnot. How Trump was on his way to one of his billion-dollar golf courses, and his wealthy eyes had to gaze down upon the poors. He caught sight of a few tents, some homeless people, and he decided that this has to, we have to sweep away these homeless, put them somewhere where we can't see them. So he's literally said this. He's ordered the homeless to leave the city right now. Now, I don't know if you have any common sense or whatever, but these are people, for whatever reason, now that they're homeless, they have nothing. They don't have a nickel in their pocket. They have maybe a bag with a t-shirt, a pair of socks, if that. That's it. How do you possibly expect people to just pack up and go wherever? You know, it's so lacking in empathy, and I mean that's just putting it lightly. You know, just telling these people they got to go somewhere. Now you got to go, but you can't. You know, we don't care where you go, but you can't stay here. Just get out of our sight. I mean, this just terrifies me as an American. I mean, ever since I was young, I saw my first homeless person on a trip to New York City when I was in 6th grade. We went to the World Trade Center. We went to the United Nations, and it was raining. It was a cold, rainy November day, and I was walking. 12 years old. I was walking on the streets of New York City, and I saw like the big lump of plastic covering on the sidewalk, and people just stepping around it. And it was a person. It was a person laying on the sidewalk under a piece of plastic in the rain, and people were just walking around him and over him. People in suits on their way to work and whatnot. And I was just terrified and, you know, mortified as 12 years old. And I always remembered, you know, how that could be me. That could be you. You know, if things go wrong, you know, if things, you know, shit hits the fan, that could be anybody. And the way that people were just walking over him. All right. So Bell brings up some very good points about his misappropriation of police forces, of manpower. His building a $400 ballroom. Bell made some comparisons. You know, Trump is calling this his golden age, and Bell said it's not golden and it's not even gilded. You know, gold would be like solid gold. Gilded is kind of like gold covered. You know, and you know, Bell's basically saying it's not either one of those. It's just basically you know, it's trash. You know, be smoke and mirrors. You know, I'm kind of, you know, improvising what she said here, but. And she talks about his $1 billion palace in the sky, the Qatari, the gift from the Qatar or Qatar. How this is going to cost the average us taxpayers millions, if not billions, of dollars to retrofit this plane, this palace in the sky. His ballroom. You know, this lavish, gaudy ballroom that I mean, I can't. This mortifies me too. It has nothing to do with me. You know, I don't live in Washington D.C. or anything, but just the destruction of the White House, adding this monstrosity onto the White House. As an American, it appalls me. You know, the lack of class here is just unbelievable. And the misappropriation of tax dollars. You know, so here he is building a ballroom and his flying palace in the sky, and he's disturbed because he has to gaze down upon the homeless. They have to be swept out. You know, this I can't even believe I'm living in this situation, in this world. All right, this is one of the biggest things I want to talk about. How Trump is federalizing the Washington D.C. police force and using FBI agents, all right, to deal with these problems. And not to mention, Trump flat out lied about crime statistics. You know, it is a known fact, no matter what statistics you look at. This isn't a case of, you know, some liberal statistician made up these numbers. No, these are proven numbers that crime has gone down 30% over the last 2 years. So Trump is just flat out lying about the case of, you know, of crime in D.C. You know, he's basically sinking millions, if not billions, of tax dollars and hours of police force that could be used other places for a city that has crime going down 30%. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. And then some of these other cases where Trump has lied flat out in the last couple of days. Like I talked about how I went shopping and the tariffs costing me money already, and how Trump says we're all going to be very, very rich. But I see money going out of my pocket. Or how he fired the labor statistics person, you know, just so he could put up fake numbers. I mean, his lying is just getting so blatant and obvious. It's insanity. Okay, so let's go back to the FBI. Do you remember, you know, the FBI, the country's most revered police force. You know, what was that? Silence of the Lambs. Okay, you know, the FBI goes after not just serial killers, bank robbers. Those are two of the. I'll put a link down below because I've been researching this. Some of the bank robbers the FBI has caught: John Dillinger, Machine Gun Kelly. I got some written down. Oh, sorry, I lost you guys there for a second. Machine Gun Kelly, the Brinks robbery, and then serial killers, the BTK killer. You know, and Trump is misappropriating these valued resources. You know, these guys, the FBI works on, you know, big stuff, important stuff to the United States. You know, really important. Serial killers, bank robberies, and he's putting them on homeless duty, homeless person duty, or panhandling duty. Can you imagine if England used Scotland Yard to do this kind of thing? You know, they took their detectives from Scotland Yard and put them out putting tickets on cars, you know, parking tickets. It's insanity. I mean, there's so many aspects that are just insane about it. You know, the misappropriation of manpower, the misappropriation of taxpayer money, the lying about the actual crime statistics, the difference between rich and poor here, where, you know, you have this billionaire that's only concerned with building ballrooms and his flying palace in the sky, and he doesn't want to gaze down upon the people who a year ago he was calling poor Americans being poisoned, and now they're the target of his sweep to get them out of the vision of wealthy people like him. You know, I'm sorry if I'm rambling here, but this just got me so fired up this morning. I apologize. I had a little problem with the video, so there's going to be a little bump in the video. I got to tie the two videos together here, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to do one of these every day. Let me know if there's one in particular you want me to talk about that Bell just did. Have a good Wednesday.